this will turn out. Rostok, I do feel like he's a quote-unquote newer face. Like, he's been very active. Rostok has been very active in the online tournament scene. We see him week after week, time and time again. So it's really cool to see him, again, participating more. And he has been improving a lot here over the past year. But MindelVK is more of an old school name. He is more of a namestay here in the European StarCraft scene. So we'll see if Rostok can fight back. If he can, make it into the semifinals. And spawning in the top right hand corner of Hecate, we have the Ukrainian Protoss player, the red Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostok. And spawning in the bottom left hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the blue Protoss player from, or representing Storm Gaming. It is MindelVK. Here we go. I'm here for it. I'm ready for it. Again, this is not the first time that we've casted these two face off. As we did misplace that gateway, a little bit unfortunate for Rostok, but it's okay. it's all good. Did have to cancel that gate. But overall, we have seen these two duke it out. Historically, MindelVK has been the stronger player, but at the same time, Rostok has been making a lot of leaps and bounds and improving quite a lot over the past couple of years. It's been really cool to see him grow as a player. And again, we'll see how he can perform here against more of an old school player like MindelVK. Mindel, he has actually been very active streaming as well. Very often when he plays in our tournaments, he's also streaming his POV. I think he may have been casting a little bit as well, just in general, but been a lot more active on his Twitch channel, which is always great to see. Really cool to see him, again, interacting with the community, with the chats, with the people, not just playing. Always do appreciate it. For now, though, we're getting into our openers. Just like the last PvP, 2 gate openers here from both Rostok and MindelVK. 2 gateways, and as soon as the Cybercore finishes, we should be getting eyes on what first 2 units come out. And it is going to be double Stalker from Rostok, and we have a Stalker Sentry opener here from MindelVK. Okay, so a bit of a safer opener from our blue Protoss. We mentioned in the previous series, but Sentry openers are just a really safe way to open up, just to make sure you can scout and get a read on what your opponent is up to. Meanwhile, his opponent going for a double Stalker, a much more kind of solid and robust opener instead. In a head-to-head fight, of course, Rostok, he can achieve a little bit more, as he will have more DPS. The Stalkers are just getting in position just to make sure that we're safe and sound, to deny any kind of adepts moving out or anything like that. And Rostok, he just goes straight for the expansion. You know, no proxy pylons. As opposed to the previous PvP, this is a little bit more sane. This is a little bit more by the book. And no! Mindel did misplace that pylon. Does have to kill it. Unfortunately, at the same time, Rostok rocks up from behind, focusing down that Stalker. He's going to be able to get a kill. Just barely doesn't. Oh my god, and Rostok overextended. He doesn't get the Stalker, and he loses his own. But at the same time, this was a brutal start. A few missteps here and there for both players. Rostok earlier misplaces Gateway. MindelVK misplaces Pylon, but this was a more brutal mistake here because it did delay his expansion. It did delay his Nexus. So Rostok will have the slightly better economy. Hallucination Scout comes in, does confirm the Blink Stalker opener from our red Protoss player. Meanwhile, MindelVK getting into a Twilight Council of his own, but it is a little bit later than his opponents. Hallucination does confirm the expansion. Rostok, he was a little bit concerned that maybe it was going to be a one-base all-in, but now he confirms that he's fine, and yeah, he cancels the shield battery. He knows he does not need the shield battery. He is safe and sound back at home. So Rostok's just trying to make sure he's as efficient as possible. Meanwhile, across the map, we do have, again, Blink on the way. There is going to be a window where Rostok has Blink and his opponent doesn't. He will have that kind of upgrade advantage. But a big reason as to why the Twilight Council was delayed is because we are also going for that faster robo. Observer scouting, yes, but we could even just go straight into Immortal production just to try to have a more robust army as well. So MindelVK, he's investing in tech. Meanwhile, Rostok just throws down a third. And he's already ahead when it comes to the economy, and Rostok wants to extend that lead up as we commit to the shade. Force field is thrown down, but the Eps, they slip on through. 2-3 probes going to be going down. Not too bad, and just like that, MindelVK, he's catching up in the worker count. Little does he know, though, that there's also a third. He has yet to see it. Mindel is yet to scout it. As Rostok is going to be moving out. Oh. Sorry, just updating the title. Just updating the Twitch title as we are settling into this game. And again, I think I was alluding to it earlier, but yeah, we have a very different outlook in this PvP. Very different dynamic compared to the last one. The last one was hyper-aggression, you know, constantly in each other's face. This time, Rostok, he just wants a better economy, you know, he's just slowly expanding, taking a natural, taking a third, saturating his bases. Likewise, MindelVK, ooh, doubling down, throwing down 2 more gateways, 3 more gateways. Mindel, he did see the third base earlier, and this is looking more and more like a 2-base all-in. It's going to be 6 gates in total. Immortal production is continuing here for MindelVK, so he's going to have a very hefty army. Once he starts to move out, we're going to be seeing a War Prism alongside this, and there it is, War Prism is on the way. So we have a 2-base all-in coming in. Rostok, he scouts, he does see the gateway explosion. He also sees a lack of third base at the triangular third. He needs to confirm at the linear third. He is denied the scout, but he should realize what's going on. Shield batteries on the way, and Rostok's moving out. He needs to slow this down. He needs to try to pick off whatever he can in the center of the map. Buy time for the rest of his immortals. He's going to be pushing up this ramp. Mindel, though, in position. The immortals have been revealed. We confirm the lack of third. And Rostok has to be very careful not to lose too much, as he does have to respect this army. Ooh, we'll be losing one of those stalkers. Trading 1 for 1, not bad. So far, we're both on 0-0 upgrades, +1 on the way for Rostok. But the better concave, the move command. 1 stalker goes down. Once again, trading 2 for 1 this time. Force fields have been thrown down as well, but we have reinforcements. We have the shield battery, we have the overcharge. Rostok, he just has to hold. That's all he needs to do. Here we go, another wave of reinforcements. Again, MindelVK completely all in with this. Good force fields from both players. The Immortal is going to be trapped. And Rostok, he has to commit to the fight. He doesn't have a War Prism. He cannot save that Immortal. No, we dive on top of it. The Immortal is going to go down. And Rostok, with the power of those 2 Immortals, he can maybe break through, but at the same time, he's up against so many Stalkers. The overcharge has been popped. Reinforcing Immortals are on the way, and it looks like Rostok, he's going to shut this down. He flicks on forward, takes down the final Immortal. GG gets called. And Rostok will take game number 1. GG. GG, well played. And that's not a bad start here for Rostok. Again, I was mentioning earlier that I still kind of favor Mindel here. Like, coming into it, I feel like, I mean, maybe it's just because Mindel's more on an international team on Sidestorm Gaming, but I feel like a lot of eyes are on him, and a lot more eyes are on him, I should say, and he's been able to achieve a little bit more, especially in these online tournaments. So yeah, solid game there out of Rostok. Solid game overall. Nothing too fancy, right? Like, he was just taking advantage of his economy, getting to a fast third, and he forced the all-in. He didn't just force the all-in, but remember, Rostok, he was able to see it coming ahead of time. Very important scouts. Very important hallucination scouts from Rostok. He confirmed the all-in coming across the map. He was also able to slow the army down in the center of the map as well. So really nice handling of the situation. And now we're getting to game number 2. And spawning in the bottom right-hand corner of Oceanborn, we have the red Protoss player representing Sidestorm Gaming. Down in this series, it is MindelVK. And spawning in the top left-hand corner, we have his opponent. We have the Ukrainian Protoss, the blue Protoss representing CSO Esports. It is Rostok. me go. The first Hatchery Cup. Beautiful. Sorry. I was just tweeting out that we have gone live. As we're settling into our second game here. And again, so far, Rostok up in the series, not looking too bad at all. Very solid game number one. And now the onus is on Mindel here to fight back, to bounce back in the series. So far, a 2-gate opener from both players. Probes going to be scouting. They do pass each other in the night. And their goals here to try to get a read on the starting units and on whether or not there is a second pylon in the main. We can see that there is. Second pylon here for Mindel, second pylon for Rostok. Everything is on the up and up. Everything is looking as it should. Where do we go from here? So far, double Stalker openers from both players. This time, no sentries. This makes a lot of sense. So, for those that are curious, compared to Hecate, for example, Hecate is a very large map. Very macro-oriented. Because it's so large, it can sometimes be difficult to scout, so you need to get across the map as quickly as possible. Here on Oceanborn, very short rushes to spy ground. You can be very aggressive, very assertive. So, focusing on Stalker production makes sense just so you can keep up with the aggression of your opponent and you don't get caught off guard. That's the scary thing about going for a sentry opener, is that you do lack a lot of DPS early on. The sentry itself is very fragile, and if your opponent's in your face, then things can snowball very quickly in favor of your opponent. Here we go. Stalkers are moving out. Rostok going for a robo opener. That's a third gateway, by the way, and Rostok shifting gears completely. We're going for a one base all in. As I said before, on Oceanborn, makes sense. Probes are moving out. They do come across each other. Probes have been spotted. Rostok, he's on the chase. He's on the hunt. At the same time, though, MindelVK going across the map. Probe is going to fall. We do have Mindel marauding out here, looking for any stray units. Both players being very active. Mindel, he's going for the expansion. He's going for the Nexus. Little does he know that his opponents will have the better production, as well as the better tech. We'll have the worst economy, but I don't think he cares. So far, some big hits coming in. MindelVK, he doesn't lose anything, but he does take a lot of hull damage, as he does retreat. But seeing all these Stalkers still is not a tell. He has a comparable Stalker count. He's getting his natural up and running. We have a shield battery on the low ground. Meanwhile, Rostok, he's going straight for that prism. He's going to be sending everything across the map. Looking at the units tab here, Rostok, he does have the slight Stalker advantage. He's cutting workers at 23. And again, he's all in. Here we go, the army's moving out at the same time, though MindelVK, he does catch some of these Stalkers. Oh, he's gonna get one. Does get one Stalker, he forces the army to turn back around as well, buying so much time. This is a one-way trip, though. There's no way out of this. There is no blink. We're forced to recall. 1 or 2 Stalkers go down. But MindelVK now knows what's going on. He sees all the gateways, sees the robo, sees the lack of expansion, and now we need to defend. There we go. Second shield battery's on the way. The robo just now starting. Twilight Council is not going to help. Unfortunately, MindelVK, he was getting ready for a longer game. Blink is on the way, but it's not going to finish in time. The robo is late, and here comes the all-in from Rostok. Looking at the units tab, we have double the Stalker count of Mindel, and we even have more on the way. At the same time, Mindel is going for his own Adept Harass. He will get into the main. He can cripple the economy, but what about the army? Oh, as we can one-shot some of these Stalkers. First Stalker goes down, shield battery as well. Mindel, he just evacuates the natural. He knows he cannot defend. At the same time, those 2 Adepts, they're going ham in the main. One-shotting probes left and right. Likewise, Rostok pushing into the main base as well. There are sentries, there are force fields. So far, the juggling is looking good. We do have high ground vision. And And we will focus down the gateways. That's the other brutal thing here. We only have 2 gateways to warp in for Mindel. Now we're down to 1. We're down to a single gateway. Stalkers are falling. The Immortal has arrived. We have the Immortal, but where are the shield batteries? One gets focused down, the second as well. Which means there is no overcharge. The boys, they have to be fooled. And we're focusing down the Immortal. He wants it. And he's going to get it. The Immortal will fall. Workers are falling, which it doesn't matter too much. The probes aren't too impactful here, but Rostok is being forced back. The juggling is too good. He's keeping the Stalkers alive. And that's what matters most. He still has momentum on his side. Going for another warp in. Mindel going to try and deny it, but there's just too many Stalkers. Too much DPS. The Prism falls, but Rostok just has too much. Barely has too much, might I add. Across the map, he was able to maintain himself, did defend. We have 3 Stalkers to the 1 of Mindel. Mindel, he's down to 9 workers, but he has an Immortal. Oh my god. We have an Immortal. We hold. I mean, we kind of hold. We force back the army, but we have reinforcements on the way. The Adepts, they're shading across the map. We're going straight for the Immortal as well. It's going to take quite a bit to DPS down the Immortal with Adepts, but we're getting there. We are getting there as the Stalker is going to fall. Mindel down to 10 workers. And we can just ignore the Immortal. We can just go straight for the probe kills. Yeah, that's exactly what we do. One-shotting probes. Another 4 workers going down. And additional Stalkers have arrived. Oh, the force field! Cutting up the army, taking down another Stalker. And this is all that MindelVK has left. 1 Immortal and 7 probes. And to be fair, 1 Immortal, it's nothing to scoff at, but Rostok, he's expanding. Getting into his own Immortal production. Settling into his own economy, and yeah, Rostok, we've seen some kind of different faces here of our Protoss. We saw earlier on Hecate, a very macro-oriented player here on Oceanborn. Hyper-aggressive. 1 base all in. Just completely catching MindelVK off guard. By the time Mindel realized what was going on, it was a little bit too late. Again, Blink did finish, but Blink did not help at all in that fight. Because it finished too late. Nexus is going to fall. And Rostok, he is up in bases. We're going to commit. Oh, not quite. We do pull back. We do pull back, and Mindel, he's just hoping, praying here for a miracle. Again, he's still in the dark. He doesn't know that his opponent has expanded. If it was 1 base versus 1 base, then maybe we can try to pull something off, but for now, don't really have much. Observer's on the way. I wonder, maybe, is the plan to kill the Observer and then go for a Dark Shrine? Is that like the play? I'm curious. Yeah, we rally to the Observer. We want it. Unfortunately, the Observer does escape in time. Rostok, he escapes the clutches here of his opponent. Still has vision of the main base. Yeah, Rostok, he's just building himself up. We're up to 3 Immortals at this point. Twilight Council's on the way to get into Blink. We're still chasing down that Observer. We want it. We're not going to get it. GG gets called. Again, it's just too much working against our red Protoss, and Rostok will take the series 2-0. GG. GG, well played. A very impressive run here. Very impressive performance by Rostok. And what I really appreciate out of this series is that we did see 2 different sides of him, right? We saw like a really greedy defensive macro style on Hecate, and then an all-in on Oceanborn. You know, showing us that again, Rostok has kind of a wide breadth of play available at his disposal. He can whip out the macro or the cheese at a moment's notice. So really well done here by Rostok. My condolences to MindelVK. Again, I do want to say that he was the favorite player coming into it. We have seen Mindel pop off from time to time, especially in our own tournaments as well. But unfortunately, this week, He does end up falling here in the quarterfinals. Does get knocked out, but I'm sure we'll be seeing more of Mindel in the coming days when it comes to the IEM Katowice Europe qualifiers, future Hatchery Cups, even future Sparkling Tuna Cups. So I'm sure we'll be seeing more of him as Rostok advances on to the semifinals. And speaking of, that is what we have next. I know it's been pure PvP, it's pure Protoss versus Protoss so far, but I promise we have some other races. Up next, Rostok, he advanced on to the semifinals, and he's going to be facing off against Wayne in those semis. Wayne, of course, being one of the best Zerg players in all of Europe. I would say probably top 4 Zerg. Maybe, yeah, I would say around there in Europe. He's definitely one of the best that we have to offer, and is going to be coming in as a heavy hitter here. Just like I mentioned earlier, Geralt would be a heavy hitter. Likewise, Wayne as well. As I say that, I mean, we already had a slight upset earlier with UED Soldier forcing Geralt into the ace match. So we'll see if some of these other players can knock Wayne down. For now, though, we are reaching the halfway mark. We've reached the semifinals. Ahead of us is the 3rd place match and the finals as well. I'm going to be going on a short break. I'm running out of water and my throat it's killing me. I don't know why. I'm going to go make some tea and take a moment. Everyone, take a moment to hydrate your hydras, stretch your roaches, massage your marines, drain your disruptors. And we're going to be back in a couple of minutes. With the semifinals, with something that is not a PvP, which is wild. I know. Is that legal? Is that allowed? Is that in the tournament rules? I don't know. We'll be back with Wayne versus Rostok after this short break. See you soon.